line, like I always say, all right. And I always say we're not affiliated with any 12-step program. And I always say that I'm Tom Robinson.
Yeah. I'm Chris Mandeville, and we are over here at a New Way Recovery Center in Quincy, Mass. On Quincy Ave. If you're in the South Shore area and you're looking for resources, or you're in treatment and you need to use the computers, whatever, come on down and check this place out.
It's a great resource, yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
So, Sal, you want to keep this about a fist length away from your mouth.
So, yeah, tonight we got a friend of ours, Richie, and he's going to share his experience, strength, and hope with us, and he's going to be aware.
Be aware. To be aware is to be alive.
What's up?
It's cranking in the red. See it?
Oh, yeah. So, did we go live on YouTube?
Yes, we did.
All right, good job. All right, we good. Sorry, Sal.
All right, yeah.
No worries.
So,
So you can use your last name or not. I don't know. Like I said.
Don't bother me.
All right.
All right.
All right, so it's on you.
On me?
You're going to start us off anyway.
All right. Let's see. Where do I start? Obviously, got into drugs and alcohol at roughly 15.
15, wow.
Yeah.
So you,
Started smoking.
late bloomer.
Yeah. Smoking weed, taking perks, Vikes, ecstasy.
All at that age.
All at that age.
yeah, see, I wasn't doing none of that. At 15, I might have smoked a joint and I was drinking, you know.
Yeah, drinking. But yeah, it was usually an every weekend deal with the perks and Vikes.
Where was this? Where'd you grow up?
I grew up in Charlestown.
Oh, okay.
So, hanging on the corner. That's what we did for fun. And it started out innocent enough, but I always, growing up, I always felt like I didn't fit in, like I didn't belong. And I was one of those chameleons. I would be what I thought you wanted me to be. So, when a joint got put in front of me, I smoked it. When things got offered up, I would do it.
Yeah, you did what you thought other people wanted you
exactly.
to do.
As a kid, you're just so innocent, and you don't know how to act. You don't know what to do.
But we know we want to be accepted.
You want to be accepted, exactly.
That's what it boiled down to. And when I put those substances into my body, that change, I finally felt accepted. Like it was, you hear people all the time talk about when they drink, and the first time they got drunk, they were, all of a sudden they were going talking to girls. And
and that's the thing. Like you felt accepted, but it didn't matter if you were or not because you were okay.
Exactly.
The second time I ever got drunk is the first time I kissed a girl, and it was like the day after the first time I ever got drunk, and like. To this day, and even right after, I was like, why did I do that? That was weird.
Yeah.
Right.
I was like, this is great.
It's just you look back on it. I look back on it now, and I think about it, and it's like, Jesus, But at the point, you don't know what you don't know, and it's like, again, it starts out innocent enough. You don't think anything about addiction. You don't think anything about none of that. And progressively, the drinking got worse, the drugs got worse, the drugs got harder. Oxycontins came into play. You start eating those. Somebody's like, "Oh, I got an Oxycontin 20 or an Oxy." I remember the first time I ever took an OC40, and I was eating perks every weekend. More than every weekend. I think I was getting into the weeks at that point. And the first time I took an OC40, it almost made me sick. That's how strong it was. The first time I took it, I almost puked my guts out.
Now you chewed it or
no, I just ate it normally.
Oh, really?
I didn't know. Wow. I didn't know anything about it. I just swallowed it. But
really?
The thing was so strong and potent that
Wow. And how old was the age?
18, 19.
Yeah.
Something like that.
But they were like really flooding the scene at that time.
They were.
OCs,
they were, and
especially out that way.
Yeah, and it was it was geared towards cancer patients for their pain. And
that's the only time I ever got one. I got a 100 milligram OC, and I ate it like a pill.
Yeah.
And I got a little high, but I was strung out
Yeah.
like a lab rat
Yeah.
at that time. I was
But
like,
I mean,
fuck those
at that time, there was, you know, everyone was fucking ripping off the pharmacies. And,
Yeah. Oh,
you
yeah.
know what I mean? It was
Yeah.
like
Oh, yeah.
everyone's jumping the counter.
That's when the
You know,
pharmacy
yeah.
thing first kicked off.
Yeah.
You know, dudes were robbing pharmacies up and down, you know,
You know,
Massachusetts, New
on
Hampshire, Rhode
bicycles
Island.
with
Yeah.
wigs on.
You know, and
Hopefully we get those guys on.
and that's where it brought. Again, it started innocently. You just take this OC thinking it's like a perk.
Yeah.
And you don't
Right.
think anything of it. Next thing you know, you're strung out like a lab rat and you're jumping counters, robbing pharmacies.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, like
You're like, you know, I know for myself, like, I went right to heroin.
Yeah.
Like, it was, my addiction started before the OCs really came on the scene. I mean, there was perks and all that stuff, and they were around, but they weren't like that. You know what I mean? It was like, okay, yeah, I knew this old guy that got 60 of them a month, and he fucking gave me the whole thing for like a couple $100, and then I'm selling them all and buying heroin with it.
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
So, like, I never really took them much, you know, but, like, they started coming on the scene, and I didn't know what dope sick was for a long time.
yeah.
And if you have those pills and you're taking them, and you start, you know, not feeling well, but you're ignorant to the fact that you may be addicted to them,
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
now you're like, wow, what the fuck's wrong with me? And it's like, oh, you don't feel good? Your nose is running? You're shitting yourself?
Yeah, yeah.
Your stomach hurts? Here. And then, boom, it's gone. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, it's amazing. That's
Yeah.
why that's another reason why it's so addictive.
Yeah.
Because anything that you contrast, like some serious trial that you're going through, like if you're really in pain, you're really sick, or you're really outdoors and you're really cold, and you get in and you're warm, and you appreciate that so much. You know what I mean? Or anything that go through that's suffering makes the good times so much better. And so you're on this cycle. You know what I mean? You get really sick and you throw up a little bit, you know, your stomach's hurting, this and that, but you know that you're going to get that feeling later on that day, so it makes it all worth it.
Yeah.
It's almost like,
Or you tell yourself, I'm going to stop. Once you know what's going on, I'm going to stop.
Yeah.
And it's, I don't know, it's funny, I was talking to my boss today he just drinks beer. You know what I mean? He's from around here, he just drinks beer, and he can't fathom, like, the shit that I did.
Yeah.
And because, like, we drive by the methadone clinic, and he's like, he asked a lot of questions. He's like, I know you probably hate me. I'm like, no, dude. Like, it's okay. Like, I want to educate people.
yeah, understanding is what's going to help.
So
you.
he's like,
Yeah.
so those people go there to get off of drugs. I said, yes, those people go there so that they don't have to hunt down heroin every day.
Right. They're thinking maybe they can get off drugs, some of them, and then they end up being on that for years.
Yeah, and I said,
sometimes that ends up worse, because if I was sick off methadone too, and
Yeah.
that stuff, I swear to God, that stuff hurt more than heroin.
and that's
That's
what
what
the
they all
discussion
say.
was. I said, listen,
That's what people say.
I kicked dope 1,000,000 times.
yeah.
3-4 days, you were okay.
yeah.
Right.
That stuff is weeks, if not months.
Shit, it gets into your
And
bones.
Suboxone is even worse.
Yeah.
Really?
Yes.
I did
it's,
not know
it's
that.
a longer detox
I remember
than that.
the first time I took a
My
Suboxone, I had just gotten out of Cab Danvers. And Suboxones were new on the scene, and I got home and somebody gave me a full Suboxone, and I knew nothing about it. But
yeah.
as a good old junkie, I put the whole thing under my tongue.
Absolutely.
And I got wrecked.
Yes.
I got jammed out of my
Oh,
mind.
yeah. I
Yep.
was
And,
detox
and,
stuff
and,
with
and,
the
it, and it
Suboxone.
was, you know, the person that gave it to me said, this is an opiate blocker. I'm not thinking I'm going to get jammed off.
Right, right.
I got wrecked.
It's funny, like, people that haven't got high in a while, they're like, I'll try a Suboxone. They're fucking jamboozled. Like,
Yeah.
this is supposed to prevent you from being able to get high.
Yeah.
But I'm fucking ruined.
Wrecked, yeah.
Yeah.
I
the-
never took it. I don't know what it's like.
The mothers or the wives or the husbands are sitting there going, well, the doctor prescribed it,
Oh,
so
yes.
it must
Yeah.
be okay.
He needs
Yeah.
8 milligrams twice a day.
Yeah,
Yeah,
well,
yeah.
here's your
You
here's
drool
your
it on
dose,
yourself.
you
And that's what
fucking
started all this, is the doctors.
high as a
Yeah.
giraffe's
Is
balls.
the pharmaceutical reps pushing these, pushing the OCs off as the new miracle drug, and doctors pushing them, and
Yep.
here we are.
I was
and-
talking about that with a friend in the parking lot before this podcast started.
Yeah,
You know, how it was the opiate epidemic was manufactured.
yeah,
It
It
was
was.
created.
yeah.
It was, but don't forget that those people who invented that drug were trying to solve a problem.
Right. And then the human
pain.
nature took over.
Human nature always
Exactly.
takes over.
So-
No matter how much good your motives are to do something, human nature is always, somebody's always gonna find a way to go the opposite way with it, and
Yep.
that's just the way. And
dope
unfortunately,
Someone's going to be able to dope fiend.
we are where we are now. And I mean, I was talking to people between yesterday and today. I've already heard about 3 people that OD'd between yesterday and today, like friends of people that I
Like,
know.
Dead or
Dead. You know, that's,
Yeah, that's-
and it's, you hear
so
about it
good, man.
constantly,
And
especially with
it's
Facebook. You see,
So tough.
It's like an
I've
obituary,
seen
constant
yeah,
obituary.
seriously, I've seen so many posts within the past 2 days of, rest in peace. It's like,
and it's
Yeah.
that boggles my mind, because when I was out there shooting heroin on a daily basis for almost 7 years, I can probably count on one hand how many people I know died in that time.
yeah.
Right.
Now I can't even keep count.
And now it's, you don't even know what you're getting. I mean, granted,
Yeah.
you didn't know what you were getting a bag of dope back then, but now you really don't know. You could be getting a pure bag of fentanyl.
I seen actually my man who just commented, Jack, he put up a post. Someone had a bag of dope tested,
Yeah.
and there was like 15 fucking drugs in that bag of dope,
Wow.
and there was like little tiny bit of heroin.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well-
Fucking insane.
Well, when you think about, some people think that the way to take the drugs out of the hands of the cartels and stuff is to just to legalize all the drugs. The problem is that that's not really going to solve the problem exactly, because there's a legal drug called alcohol, and I mean, the first time I drank it, I was 12, 13, you know what I mean? And I didn't stop drinking it until
No,
I finally got sober at 34.
If you have the allergy, if you're an addict, if that's, if it's in you, then no matter what, it's gonna happen.
Yeah.
I mean,
It may take longer, you may be able to keep it at bay for a while,
yeah.
but
Right.
The
if
thing
you-
about the thing about heroin and stuff like that compared to alcohol is it's so much faster.
yes,
I mean,
So much easier to die.
I'm thankful that I started shooting heroin as early as I did. Well,
Me too.
I started late, but I started early considering
Right.
age-wise. But had I just drank, could still be out there drinking.
yeah.
Like
Right.
it definitely sped up the process and got me in here. a hell
Right,
of a lot faster.
waiting for what you went through with opiates to happen with alcohol.
Exactly.
Because
Yes.
it's going to happen.
I mean, you
Right.
see it all the time in meetings. You see these guys 50, 60 years old, us coming in. I came in at 25.
Yeah.
And
29.
34.
So they would, you'd be in meetings and talking, and they'd be like, Jesus, I wish I got it at your age. I'm 52 and I'm just getting it.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
Right.
all they did is drink. So it's a slow progression. Whereas you get into the hard stuff, heroin, even coke sometimes, depending upon if whatever it is, that'll get you in the door faster.
Yeah. And also I've seen a lot of like old timer alcoholics have some type of procedure, get put on a pain medication,
Yeah.
boom, sobriety's out the window. Now it's a whole different animal that they're
Yeah.
fighting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've seen it a few times, and it's sad. I kind of affected my personal life as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's. I think with a lot of old timers, guys that just drank, maybe they think that it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
I think we all think at that point we definitely did when we were out there that that won't happen to me, that won't happen to me.
Of course.
So maybe as just an alcoholic who wasn't addicted to drugs, never did drugs, that thought, well, I'm not a drug addict, so I'll be all right.
That's an old, outdated, and completely false
absolutely.
deception that people used to have, is that alcohol isn't a drug. There's drugs, and then there's
No,
alcohol.
alcohol is a drug.
Alcohol
it's
is
just,
a drug
it's a,
because
it's a different form of putting it in your body, but it does the same thing.
why wouldn't it be a drug? Because it's liquid and you drink it.
Yeah.
No. It's
Whether
a
you
drug.
shoot it, sniff it, smoke it, drink it,
Yeah.
Yeah,
it all does the
doesn't
same
matter.
stuff. It's definitely a drug, and for when you start making that differentiation between, I'm not sticking a needle in my arm, or I'm not sticking I'm not sniffing it, I'm not smoking it.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. You have that crazy mentality.
I heard the term, you're chewing your booze.
Yeah.
chewing your booze.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You know, it's
Absolutely.
all the same.
You know, and once you come to accept that, then you know that no matter what, you can't drink, you can't smoke, you can't shoot. It's all off the table. And if you were just a straight drinker, and you do get put on pain meds, you still have that sick thinking.
Yeah,
and
you need to talk about it. You need to tell people. You need to let people know up front.
Absolutely,
you know?
absolutely.
I remember the crazy stuff my sponsor Joey was going through when he had to have surgery and he had to go on pain meds, and looking in his eyes in the mirror and they're pinned. You know what I mean? It's like,
yeah.
But he stayed sober. But
well, that's the thing about it
is prescribed.
So there's going to be instances in life, and again, this is life on life's terms.
Yeah. Yep.
So there's going to be instances in life where something happens. You break bones. You have surgery.
Yep.
You have to have pain meds because the pain's too unbearable. You can try ibuprofen, Tylenol. It might not touch it. You might have to do.
He was afraid he was going to get the fuckets. Like if he said, I'm just going to tough it out and not take the prescribed meds, that all of a sudden one night trying to sleep he'd get the fuckets and shoot the Southie or whatever.
Well, that's where the program comes into play. That's where your foundation comes into play. That's where
honesty.
You talk to the people that you surround yourself with. You talk to your core group of people, and you let them know what's going on with you, and you be honest. Honesty is the big. If once you start lying to yourself, it's all over.
Yeah.
You know, you
Exactly.
can pull the wool over everybody else's eyes, and you can lie to everybody else, but once you're lying to yourself, that's it.
Yeah,
you know?
That's right.
That delusion. You're trying to convince yourself. Nah, man. No, I'm all right. Yep. I know I'm all right.
Yeah. No, you're not. No. Once you tell yourself you're all right in that situation, you're not all right.
Yeah.
You know, anyway. It's like the old saying. If you're trying to control something, you're out of control.
Out of control, yeah.
Yep.
You know.
Where were we in Sully's story, though?
I know. Rabbit hole.
That's the way it goes. Yeah. So, got into the OCs, and my mother ended up passing away when I was 23, which was 2002, and I, she was my world. So. After that, I kind of just went off the deep end, and started delving into more stuff, and decided to start shooting coke and smoking crack and shooting heroin, and it just all went downhill real fast, and
looking for the comfort and escape reality.
Yeah, and
it sucks. It's tough.
doing stupid stuff, going out, stealing cars. Being out 2, 3, 4, 5 in the morning.
Allegedly.
Yeah, allegedly.
I allegedly stole that car.
Just doing stupid stuff and getting in trouble with the law and getting arrested and getting involved in the courts and, probation. And I ended up getting stuck on probation they ended up giving me a year, continuing without finding for a year. And like a good junkie that I was, showed up for probation for a little while and then just stopped going.
Well, that's another thing that I say sometimes. I think about is if you made the drugs legal, okay, then when I got sober, it was because I got arrested, and it was like being rescued because I couldn't stop myself. So when I got put behind the bars. In the holding cell, I was relieved. I was happy. I was like, "Thank God."
Yep.
You know what I mean? And then when I was in there, I was clear-headed for a while, and I started writing Dan Bowen, our counselor, please let me back in the house, because I had gone through when Chris was in there, and I had been in the house already, but I fucked up at the end. So please let me back in the house. I'll do whatever I wrote. I don't remember. I wish I could see it.
I know.
Yeah.
I bet they have that on file somewhere. No, they probably don't.
I held on to a lot of my paperwork from drug turnabout for a long time.
I just actually found a bunch of stuff.
Did you?
Yeah. I moved the last of my stuff out of a garage that I had it in, and I just threw everything away. But then I found these big manila envelopes, and I'm like, 26 Lompong Road? No, hold on.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, yeah, because, you got to write a letter every week.
Yep.
You got to show interest that you want to come here.
You want to go to the program. Yeah.
Yeah. It's nice to be able to look back on that and see your thought process.
And you talked about being in jail, and like that guy that I was talking about earlier, my foreman that I work with, he says, so what made you get straight? And I'm like, fucking bars, dude.
Yeah.
I was locked up. I got arrested. He's like, so you were just in a cell and you were sick? I'm like, no, I was in a fucking pod with 40 other guys and had no privacy, and yes, I was sick.
Yeah.
Sick at first.
He was like, oh. He's like, whoa.
The first week, and then the rest of the time, you know.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what happened to me too. Is eventually I stopped going to probation. My apartment in the projects was a shooting gallery. I had everybody and their mother in my place. The place was a disaster, complete disaster. You know, and the cops come knocking on my door. Everybody's geeked out of their minds.
They're here.
Exactly.
No, they're really here.
No, they're really here. And I'm like, a guy came running into the room. He had a plate in his hand. He was geeked out of his mind. His eyes are bugging out of his head. He's like, the cops are here. And I'm like, what are you talking about?
A plate?
Yeah, he had a plate with Coke on it.
Yeah,
he had a plate full of Coke. He's just running around bugging out of his mind, and he comes into the room with his eyes wide, and I'm like, you know, and he's like,
where do I put this?
Yeah,
Scarface that shit.
Exactly, you know, and I'm like, so I get up, and I go to the door, and sure as shit, the cops are there, you know, and I'm like, oh, fuck.
Warrant?
You know, and warrant. I had a warrant for probation. You know, and normally you look for a way out, like you thinking about jumping out a window and screwing, you know, and but for some reason something told me to open the door. Like, I don't know, I swear, I don't know, it's not normal thinking when you're in that. Nobody wants to go to jail, but for some reason something told me to open that door, and I did. And you know, sure as shit, I get put in the handcuffs along with a few other people that were in the house that weren't very happy with me that I opened the door. They were a little mad at me,
but it's crazy that, like, at first that feeling, and you know, you're like fuck, but then you like get that moment of clarity and you think for a second and you're like,
yeah, you know, and
God.
Thank you.
Yeah, exactly, and it didn't really hit me right away. It took, you know, I spent the weekend at Area A1 in Boston.
Oh yeah.
You know, they put. It was a Friday. I got arrested. They held me there till Monday,
which was
the worst because you're in that cell by yourself. There's no clock. There's no blankets. There's no.
Here's your breakfast. Yeah, that's the only words you hear. Here's your lunch.
The toilet paper roll was my pillow. You know,
if you had your sneakers, you were lucky.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. Kicking in Newman and Plymouth was a lot better than kicking in the a station.
You don't know what time it is. You don't know what day it is.
No. Did I sleep for 2 minutes or 2 hours?
Right. Lights on all night.
And that's what. The lights on all night.
Oh my God.
And that's what it is. You think you slept for like 5 hours, and he's like, yeah, no, you asked me what time it was 10 minutes ago. It's like, really? You kidding me?
Oh God.
But I ended up getting. They held me on $1,000 bail. I went into court that Monday morning. They held me on $1,000 bail. I was strung out of my mind. I didn't have $1,000. You know, so off to National Street I go. You know,
Nash.
And you know, I didn't at that point. I was okay with it. I didn't.
Sandwich.
Yeah, I really didn't care at that point. You know, because that relief started kind of setting in. Like, and I get into Nash, and you know, you come in, and the first floor is the whole processing area. You go into, you know, you sit there for what felt like an eternity. I don't even know how long I sat there for, but you know, they do the whole. You sit in the room and they take you one by one. You go see the nurse. They do whatever it is they do before they send you up to the unit. But
the whole booking process.
Yeah, and so I'm sitting in the holding tank, just sitting there minding my business. I think there was one other person in there with me, and all of a sudden I hear Sullivan, and I'm like, that's me. And I stand up and I look, and there's a CO sitting down the end of the hall. He's like, to the back. And I'm like, what did I do? You know, I'm thinking like I did something. So I walk down the hall. I walk right past him. We walk down the end of the hall. We get to the end of the hall. I turn around. He looks at me. He says, you remember me? And I look him dead in the eyes, and I'm like, oh, fuck. I remembered him. He was my next door neighbor. He knew me since he knew me since I was a baby. His mother and my mother were best friends. And instant shame came over me because like this guy had known me for so long, and I hadn't seen him in years because they moved out. but they were great people, and I had very fond memories of them. Him and his brother, they were really good. They would always take care of me when my mother had to do something. You know, they watched me. You know, and he looks at me, he's like, "What the fuck happened?" And I told him, I said, "You know, this is what happened. My mother passed away. Here I am." You know,
I had a similar experience where I ran into one of the guards at the boot camp in Bridgewater. Was I had gone to school with him. I mean, grade school, you know, elementary school on up to wherever I dropped out. Yeah. And you know, he didn't even acknowledge me, but he knew you know what I mean?
Yeah, same thing. I was at
it's like
Bridgewater.
How embarrassing!
You know,
so awful.
So, you know, they say everyone remembers where they were on September 11th. That's where I was.
Oh, you were in
Bridgewater?
Yeah.
No water like Bridgewater.
Yeah, no water like Bridgewater. And it's the old one, so it's inside the state prison. You get the Wild Wild West and the other side. And I'm in the chow line, and I'm hurting. And I hear, Mandeville! And I'm like, fuck. I turn around. He's like, kid I grew up with. He's like, what the fuck happened to you? I was like, heroin.
Yep.
Heroin's what
That's
happened
it.
to me.
One word.
And, dude, 120 pounds. I'm in the line. I'm in detox, right? Like inside jail with state inmates, like murderers, rapists, like real inmates.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
And he goes, double up his tray. He needs to fucking put some weight on. So it's like boom, boom.
Oh,
then everyone's like, yo, what the fuck is that? I'm like, oh my
Here we
God,
go.
no.
Here we go.
Fuck. Like,
Here we go. Yeah. Yep.
That's how it started over there. And then another guy, like, I think it might have been after this or just before that. You know, doing my thing, running around Brockton, being a shitbag, and I'm selling to this lady, and like her eyes light up, and I'm like, what? And I'm like, is there a cop behind me? And she's like, yeah. I'm like, oh fuck. He's on a bicycle.
Oh no.
Didn't even hear him. Turn around, and I'm like, yeah, you got me. And he's like, what the fuck are you doing? And I'm like, nothing. He's like, nothing. He's like,
yeah.
Do you remember me? And I'm like, no. And he says who he was, and it's like, I fucking went to school with his sister. I was in Boy Scouts with him for fucking years.
Yeah.
And then, you know, later on in my sobriety,
he became a cop, and you became a robber.
Yeah, he was a cop. Later on in my sobriety, like I looked him up, found him on Facebook, and I said, listen, I basically thanked him because, you know, I ran into him a couple times, and the way things went steered me in the direction that I went in.
Yeah.
And I said, listen, I'm not saying that you're responsible for it, but had you not done what you done for me, I may not have gotten to where I am today. And he was like, dude, you just made all the work I've done over all these years worth it. Thank you.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's the thing about the CO that I ran into. He was 9 years sober at the time.
Oh wow!
So him and I had a pretty good conversation.
Yeah.
Sitting there in the hallway, and the long and short of it was, this is as good as it gets.
Right.
Like, this is it.
That's it.
Other than this, you're going upstate, or you're gonna end up in the ground.
Yeah.
But this is as good as it gets, and that really stuck with me. You know, so when I got upstairs to the unit, the first phone call I made was to a buddy of mine, and I said, listen, leave me in here. Don't even bother trying to raise bail money. Don't whatever.
Yep.
I need to stay in here, and I was fine with that. And I was talking to case managers, trying to figure out what I was going to do, how I was going to get into a program, whatever. I spent 2 weeks in Nashville Street, and then they shipped me to South Bay on Nash status because Nashville Street was overcrowded. So I spent 2 weeks in South Bay.
Yeah, I've never been there. It was one of the worst stops you can make.
It wasn't too bad. I mean, considering I was okay with it because it was better than the alternative.
Yeah.
You know,
right.
Jail was a step up from how I lived.
Exactly. You know, I had and to the point of view about the 120-pound thing. When they finally did the whole, after him and I finished the conversation, and I got to the nurse and the whole, you know, they weigh you and all that stuff. She said, "How much do you think you weigh?" I said, "About 190 pounds." How about 160?
Yeah, right.
Wow.
And I'm 250. So I was almost 100 pounds lighter than what I was. I tell people all the time I was like Skeletor with a hair helmet. Because I hadn't had a haircut in God knows how long, and my hair's so
helmet.
thick. But I was bone thin. You know what I mean? Like
thinking you look good though.
Thinking you look. I thought I looked great.
Yeah,
I thought I looked great.
Absolutely.
You know, and that's a sickness. But I ended up after the 2 weeks in South Bay, I ended up going to my next court date, and my PO was trying to give me 2.5 years. He was trying to give me my time, and I figured I was getting it. I was figured, all right, well, this is it. I'm doing 2.5, whatever. I'm okay with it. I've accepted it. I'll deal. And the judge that was on the bench was a female judge, and from everybody that I had talked to, I guess she was a real stickler for, like if you violate probation, if she'll
hammer you.
Yeah, she'll go with the PO.
Yep.
She turns around and she says, I'm going to give you 30 days. I'm going to let you out right now. I'm going to give you 30 days to get into a program. I get a job. What?
Yeah. Right.
Wow. Where did that come from?
Oh, exactly. All right.
Amazing.
And I walked out of court that morning, and I walked. It was a Boston Municipal Court, which was at the time in downtown, right in PO Square.
Really?
Yep. And I walked from PO Square to Charlestown.
It's a good hike.
It's a little bit of a walk.
It's funny, dude, because I get out of Bridgewater. I had a $5,000 bail. The judge on the bench, I don't think he's on the bench anymore, released me on a personal. I'm like,
wow.
What?
Yeah.
Like, I did my time at Bridgewater, and they sent me over there. And, they sent me to Dedham. And I'm like, but I have a bed at the Mainspring house. You know what I mean? Like, whatever.
Yeah.
And they send me over to Dedham. 4:30, 5 o'clock the next morning. Mandeville, pack it up. I'm like, no, you got court. I'm like, no, I don't have court. You got court. Pack it up. I'm like, what the fuck? I didn't know my lawyer put in for a bail reduction. So they sent me to Dedham Superior. Guy cuts me loose on a fucking personal from a $5,000 bail. And
right, I remember. Didn't you walk along?
I walked from Dedham to Randolph to my grandmother's.
That's
like in the fucking pouring rain, skipping like a motherfucker. Like,
I'm free.
That's a walk.
Yeah.
You know? So crazy. Like a lot of the same shit.
Yeah. And then so I get released. I go back to Charlestown. And I'm in my mind, I'm staying sober. Like it's, I mean, in my heart of hearts, I wanted to.
Exactly, me too. I was same.
I had no defense, so I started going to meetings. But I was going to meetings. I was showing up. I was hanging out in the back, shooting the shit. I wasn't listening, getting court slips signed. Just doing the whole spiel. Not really, not getting involved. And probably about 3 weeks after getting out, somebody comes knocking on my door. They owed me some money, so what they did is they gave me a 50 rock of crack to pay me.
Oh, nice.
And in my in my great thinking, I'm like, all right, well, I'll just sell it and get my $50. Put it in my pocket. Don't think any about it. Within a minute, it's burning a hole in my pocket, and I'm thinking about, all right, what do I got to make a pipe?
Yep.
That's what we do.
I find when I need to make a pipe, I throw the rock on it and I hit it. And
the whole thing?
The whole thing. Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah. And I can tell you right now that it got wasted.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Because as soon as it hit me, I didn't feel anything but shame, guilt, and remorse.
Oh, yeah.
Like I felt like a complete shitbag.
Oh, yep.
God.
So my
emotions.
solution to that was to go to the liquor store, get a 30-pack of Natty Ice and a pint of whiskey, and drink my sorrows away.
Yeah.
And I got completely fucking shit-faced that night. Bawled my eyes out.
Such a sad spot to be in, man.
Woke up the next day and said, I can't do this anymore. And
this is during the 30 days you need to get a job or treatment.
Yes, this is the 30 days. I got about a week left.
Yeah.
And that never came into mind. That never came into my mind. I didn't really care about that. I woke up that next morning and I went down to the noontime meeting that they had down in St. Catharines at the time, and I found a friend who had recommended a program to me probably 2 weeks prior. And I told him, yeah, let me think about it. Let me get back to you because I got so much stuff that I can't leave behind. I had nothing. But, that's the justification. Like, oh, I can't leave all my stuff behind. I had
rotten
nothing.
Food in the fridge, dirty clothes,
Yeah,
fucking shitty ass furniture.
I had nothing. So he made a phone call to Project Turnabout, which at the time was in Hingham, and I had no idea where Hingham was. I thought it was out west somewhere. I was like, yeah, whatever, I'll go wherever, not realizing it's 15 minutes outside the city.
Yeah.
In by 3 o'clock that afternoon, I was in Hingham. I went home. I
getting showered.
I didn't even shower. I went home and I.
No, they shower when you come.
Oh
in.
Yeah.
We need to search your stuff.
So I went home. I
shower.
grabbed the backpack. I put an extra pair of socks and underwear, and that's all I had. And I left with the clothes on my back. And off to Hingham I went.
Yep.
And we go down. The old driveway down in Hingham. You come down the long driveway, and then you see that big rainbow sign. It says Project Turnabout, and all I think to myself is, "What the fuck am I getting myself into?" Like I just saw the sign, and I'm like, "What the fuck is this?"
Yeah.
And
rainbows, butterflies.
You walk in the door, and the first thing I
screaming
hear,
and yelling, and you're a junkie.
Yeah, the first thing I hear walking in the door is "Life as you know it is over," and strap in.
Yeah. Strap in.
Strap in,
dude.
Yep.
I remember fucking going upstairs, doing the whole strip search, shower shit, and then you go into the lounge.
Yeah.
That fucking metal door.
Yep.
I took that door. When they shut the house down, I took it. That was the heaviest fucking door I ever pushed open in my life. But I am so glad that I went through the turnabout that I went through.
Same here.
Yeah, me too.
Same here. Same here.
Yeah, we all went through the same treatment center.
Because I've gone back to Turnabout in Weymouth to do some big book work with some of the guys, and it's completely 100% different.
I will not do alumni commitments.
No,
no more.
it's. I mean, they've really the Spectrum corporate really ruined it. I mean, they took everything that was good about it and stripped it away.
Dude, like we had purpose when we were there.
Yeah,
we had jobs. We had. Listen, this house isn't going to run if I don't do what I need to do.
Exactly.
Today.
You had housekeeping, you had kitchen crew, you had maintenance, you had procurement, you had the phone crew. The phone crew.
Oh, there was a program there, and then they closed it, and they opened up a different one.
Yeah, and they opened up Spectrum.
They called it the same thing for a little while, but now they don't even do that.
Yeah, now it's just Spectrum.
And it's sad. But
the guys still say, "I'm in Project Turnabout."
Yeah.
Oh, do they really?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's
but if you drive by the outside, it just says Spectrum on the sign. It doesn't say Project Turnabout.
Oh, the alumni board, all that shit's.
It's all gone.
Yeah. We went. I was trying to. Honestly, I brought a notebook in and everything. I was like, if someone comes in here and says they went through this place, get their name, get their number. When they first opened, I walked in right. I'm ready to check this place out. I'm in the lounge right there when you walk in. Phone's ringing. No one's there. What do we do when the phone rings?
Answer
At the old one. Good evening, Project Turnabout. May I help you?
Yep.
Yeah.
Who the fuck is this? I'm like, Chris Mandeville, alumni. Who's this? This is Michael Richardson, the director. I'm like, oh, hey, how you doing? Why the fuck are you answering the phone? I don't know. It was ringing.
Yeah.
Go get so-and-so. Dude. Big blowout. I'm like, what happened to this place?
See, when it first opened, it was still booming.
It was still booming.
Yes.
I worked there overnights.
Yep.
And then they progressively weeded him out.
I think
Joe Rhoda, they had him driving a van.
Yeah.
That pissed me off, dude, when I heard that. Joe Rhoda, the guy who could hear every conversation no matter where you were in the old house.
Yep.
He would tell you what you were talking about.
I lasted working there about a month with the new guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It really wasn't the same.
Sucked.
It's not like they progressed through the house. The problem that I have is we used to have to progress, and you wouldn't move up into another phase of your treatment until you progressed.
You had to go in front of the house, and you had to read it off, and your
peers had to vote you up.
Your peers had to vote you up.
When you take a guy out of prison who's been in prison for 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, and you put him in a program for 6 months where they don't really have to do anything but go to the meetings, then listen, sit there in a chair and be furniture for 6 months. it's about as easy as you can get.
Yeah.
They're used to doing time.
You're just doing time, but now you're doing time 6 months worth
in a different
it's rinky-dink
just
thing.
a different location.
Yeah, with better food, better scenery.
Doesn't search. It's not a soul searching, thing that makes you bring up all your emotions and all your old shit, and you're not gonna cry, you're not gonna scream, you're not gonna none of that stuff. Because you're there to do time, and it's all on the counselors and the staff to change you. Well, that wasn't the way it was in our turnabout. It was on us to change us and help the other guys next to us
and that,
to change
that was
them.
the biggest thing about the turnabout that we went through that absolutely 100% saved my life and saved your life too.
Saved my life. It's absolutely.
Because you had you had to take a look at yourself, and you had to. I mean, you read it in the book. You read in the big book. Alcohol is but a symptom. You got to get down to causes and conditions. We drink and we drug not because of anything other than there's something in our life that we're running from. So for me, it was the failings of not fitting in, not being accepted, whatever. Being bullied, whatever the case was. So that was my escape, So you have to. I had to take a look at all that, and I had to accept all that, and I had to change that, and come to become okay with it, to move on, and deal with those issues and deal
accept yourself.
Exactly. Accept yourself and be okay.
No matter how broken and fucked up you are.
Yeah.
We can work with that.
Yeah,
we can start there.
Yeah, but you gotta take a look at yourself, and same deal with the 12 steps and the 4th step. You write a 4th step. You take a deep, hard look at yourself.
Yeah,
and then you tell somebody about it, and then you're able to move
away
on.
all the justifications, all the bullshit.
You strip all that stuff away.
False bravado, ego bullshit.
Exactly, and you know what? And nowadays, if you like me, you like me. If you don't, go fuck yourself. I don't care. I'm okay with that. If you don't like me, whatever. I got plenty of friends.
Yeah.
And I can put my head on the pillow at night and I can go to sleep, and I know that I'll wake up the next day and I'll be fine.
Yeah.
But it took Project Turnabout in that program and the things that they did in that program to get me to that point.
Yeah.
And
I had to be broken down, and it was not going to happen by holding my hand and saying you're going to be all right.
Exactly.
I needed to be screamed at. And
you remember the Viking helmet, the dresses, the LEs.
Dan with his tongue twisted.
Yeah, the LEs. You walk through every time you walk through a door, you had to read what he wrote on the paper.
My habit self has me. Dude, and they were like worse than she sells seashells by the seashore shit.
Yep,
you know what I mean?
He would 100 times.
Yeah.
And then there was the little things like getting pulled up for leaving a room without saying I'm aware of that cup.
Yep.
Like changing your behaviors, making you aware,
making you accountable for your actions.
Exactly. Like you
aware of your actions.
Don't leave your shit laying around.
Yeah.
Like, nobody's here to clean up after yourself.
Yep.
If you leave a room and you don't say you're aware of it, then we're gonna take that as you're leaving your trash laying around. So
don't leave your fucking laundry in the dryer. If it's done, fold it so someone else can use it.
Yeah. And if you get up out of a seat and you don't say I'm aware of that seat, well, guess what? Somebody's going to take it.
Yep.
And it's stuff like that when you're kind of in it and you start getting pull-ups and you're like, oh man, because some guys would take the pull-up system a little too much.
Yeah,
They'd go a little overboard, and it's like, dude, really? Come on.
Yeah.
For those listening, the pull-up system was a system where the clients in the program would notice a behavior that would fit into a list of pull-ups that you could give, and you were responsible to give so many per month. If you weren't given enough, you were called out on that.
Yeah. You didn't have to create them; they just happened.
They just happened.
Trust and believe.
Yeah. Right. You can walk in any room and just find you're like, be aware and give you verbal pull-up.
But there was also push-ups.
Yes, there was also push-ups, which was
good stuff.
Good stuff. If you did something good, you can get a push-up, and I think usually only the counselors gave push-ups.
Yeah, and then there was verbal, and there was written.
Yeah.
If it was written, it was serious.
Yeah, it was serious.
It's going in the box.
What was it? If you got three verbal pull-ups for the same offense, you would get a written after that. I think it was. Was that what it was?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, something like that. So if you showed the same behavior. And you got verbal pull-ups multiple times for the same thing, you would then start getting writtens, and then that
so many writtens, you could be set back.
Yeah, you
all
could be
kinds,
set back.
You know,
So I mean, I was in there for 7.5 months, 7 to 9 month program, but you could be on the same phase for two months, 3 months. You know, and
I want to find the old philosophy.
Yeah.
I think I have it somewhere.
Yeah.
Because I read the one that they had over at the other one, and I'm like,
oh, it's garbage.
What is that? What is that?
Yeah, yeah.
Who came up with that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, that thing was.
Oh yeah.
You know, it made you think when you heard it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Made you think.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, by far that was the best decision I ever made in my recovery, was going through that house.
Yep.
Because I really don't think that if I didn't go through that house specifically, I would. If I had gone through just a regular halfway house, I probably wouldn't be here.
That was my but other than Bridgewater, that was my first and only experience with treatment.
Mine too.
Thank God.
Mine too.
Oh really?
Absolutely,
Yep.
mine too.
Yeah, mine not mine.
Yeah.
I mean, Bridgewater really wasn't treatment. It was fucking relapse prevention and stupid shit, which they had a turnabout also because they had to, but like just everything else that went along with it, the whole dynamic of how that house ran.
Yeah.
Like, you know, if we needed something, the procurement crew had to get on the phones and they had to ask people, you know, hey, I'm from a men's treatment center called Project Turnabout in Hingham, and we are looking for donations. You know, that's how that whole house ran.
Yeah.
There was, if there was any funding, it didn't go to the house. You know, the only thing that we funded was, you know, we got put on assistance, and that money went towards Cisco and got us food.
Got us food,
you know? But we went to the food bank, and we walked the friggin' docks at Chelsea at 4 in the morning.
Going to Chelsea 4 in the morning, going to get the
we got to get there before Meridian House.
We'd go to the Chelsea fruit center, all the fruit places, and go through all the, you know, just drive down the road and go in all the buildings.
Being on kitchen crew and picking through the lettuce, throwing out the crappy lettuce.
3 days. 3 days into treatment, fucking whole kitchen crew gets thrown out for smoking crack. Dale Bone goes, you have cooking experience? I said, yep. He goes, you're the new kitchen crew chief.
Yep.
Hey, I was dropping kitchen crew chief on job search. Serious. It was crazy. I was doing the Cisco order, everything.
Yeah.
But that gave me a focus. It gave me a purpose.
Yeah.
And, you know, dude, going to the Celtics games. Fucking, we did, too. We lived.
Yeah.
You know, Johnny P. when he was there.
Oh, I remember the Celtics games. I was there with the Celtics.
Joe Russell.
Yep.
Crazy, dude.
Yeah.
I some of my fondest memories were in that house.
Oh, absolutely.
I found so many pictures from my graduation. Awesome.
Oh, when you walked the stage?
Yeah.
So, Sully, I went and walked the stage somewhat, right?
Yeah, that's right. You guys.
I was the only one. I was the only one there that was alumni at all. There was one guy who was alumni, graduated from the Weymouth house.
Yeah.
They didn't even let me speak, never mind walk any stage. They didn't give me any kind of certificate.
I still got my diploma.
Completion.
I got my
found mine.
Yeah, I got my turnabout. It's still framed. It's still absolutely.
No, I
I've held
got
on
a
to that.
certificate of completion from Turnabout, but not at the thing like they do.
You didn't get the diploma that actually says diploma on it. You didn't get that. Yeah, see, we got that.
I got my. I found it in that
you
box.
walked the stage?
Yeah.
So yeah, you
we
were there right
we were the
before me.
last ones to walk the stage,
stage
because you guys were about 6 months behind me.
Yeah.
And that's when the whole house started changing. When they started move, that's when they were getting ready to move to Westboro.
Right.
You know, because they.
But
had sold the land.
also, they only had one graduation a year. If you fucked up, you didn't walk the stage.
Yeah,
that's right.
If you didn't stay sober,
you
didn't walk the stage.
Right.
You know, and if remember with Bobby Fagan and all that, we voted. All right, re-entry. You got to do 8 weeks and 12, because it was like dudes would go one re-entry meeting in like 2 months.
Yeah.
You know, and then we were like, listen, there's got to be like some type of accountability, stability type thing here, like where, you know, it's a consistent thing. So we had a house meeting, and we're like, all right, you got to do 8 re-entry meetings, but you have to do it in 12 weeks.
Do you think
because life happens, you may miss some, you may have to work, you may do this, but you need to do it in 12 weeks.
How many other programs are having the clients vote on something like that? I'm going to say none.
None. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
None.
It gives you the idea that you're on the side, the team of the sober people. You know what I mean? Rather than always being on the team of the people who are just sitting there listening.
And I think
what I mean?
I think it was the year after I graduated.
Us and them. It's
Dan selected me to get the Stephen Tronstein Award.
Nice.
Oh yeah.
That was someone who went through the house and something ended up happening. He got sick and passed away or something. And I was like, what? So yeah, that place definitely holds a special place in my heart.
Absolutely.
So what's going on now? So
Yeah. How has life changed since you've been through PT?
Oh God.
Fuck what you heard. I love PT.
Yeah, so many. I mean, seriously, so many ways. I mean, when I went into that program,
your man's in them. Oh my God.
When I went into that program, I had no idea what to expect. I just knew that I didn't want to live the way I was living. Because I was, the one thing that brought me into brought me to that point was not loss of materialistic financial, it was the loss of myself. Waking up that morning and looking at myself in the mirror and saying, like, what the fuck, what do you, like, being an empty shell of a man.
What is this life? Who the fuck am I?
Go into that program not knowing what to expect, but knowing that when they ask you, what are you willing to do to stay sober, and my answer to that was anything, and I was 100% anything. And
willingness,
and that's what I did. I went through that when I went through the program. I did everything that was suggested to me. In graduating that program, going out, getting a job, working, getting an apartment, and just living a sober life, not really knowing what to expect. Because you always think, you hear people say it all the time, and I was one of them, that what am I going to do for fun now that I'm sober? But what did I do for fun when I was getting high? I hung on the corner. That's what I did. I stayed on the corner. I didn't go anywhere. I didn't do anything. I didn't go on vacation. I was fucking stuck on a corner. But I thought that was a blast,
Yeah, right.
And then I wasn't even stuck on the corner anymore. I was stuck in my project apartment. I was an introvert. I was a caveman. So it's like it can only go up from here. And that's really what's happened, man. The past 13 and a half years have been phenomenal. I mean, granted, there's been some struggles, mainly financial, with just fixing the wreckage of the past.
Yeah, that's life, man.
But
did you work in like a phone store for like?
No, I didn't work in a phone store.
No?
I worked in a law firm.
Oh,
I worked in a law firm for a while.
I remember you coming over in a suit.
Someone worked in a phone store for quite a while.
Yeah, no, it wasn't me. I worked in my get well job was a law firm, which was actually not a bad get well job.
Yeah, right.
But I figured out early on that I didn't want to work in an office. I didn't want to sit in a cubicle for the rest of my life. And the opportunity came about to get into electrical work. And so I took it because I've always liked doing stuff with my hands. And it seemed like a good opportunity, so I took it. And now I am a licensed journeyman electrician. I'm a member of the IBEW Local 103.
How long you been in there?
I got into the 103 a little over a year ago. I had been trying to get in for, Jesus Christ, almost 10 years.
Oh,
it's tough.
But with the old regime, it was tough. But now we got a new
old boys.
There's a new business manager, some new business agents. A buddy of mine.
So much easier to get into the ironworkers. You just got to have screw loose,
Yeah.
And you want to go walk on beams.
Yeah. So
you go willing to come on.
Thankfully, a friend of mine who is also sober, he got elected as a business agent, and he was able to talk to the business manager.
Nice.
And the thing about the new business manager too is he understands that there's talent outside of the union. Like there's a lot of non-union companies that have a lot of good workers, and that's our biggest competition is the Griffins, the Glens, the big non-union contractors. There's still a lot of work.
Glenn's huge.
Yeah. Griffin's even bigger.
Yeah.
But these companies are stealing work from us because they can underbid it. They don't pay their employees as good for the most part. So they can win jobs over us. And the new business manager has come to the understanding that, well, how do you hurt them? You take their talent. And that's what we're doing. And these guys that are working for these companies want to be union, but they haven't had that opportunity.
Right.
Because unless you get into the apprenticeship, there was never a path for you to get in. So if you
had to start it.
So so if you were licensed, you didn't go through the apprenticeship. Well, see you later. You know.
Actually, I think another buddy of mine just did the same thing.
So he's understood that there's a lot of talent outside of.
So now you can come in as a journeyman.
You can, yes. So we've organized within the past year a lot of really good guys too, a lot of really good electricians.
That's good.
But this has afforded you a comfortable life at this point.
A very comfortable life, yes.
And,
you know, it's I get paid very well. I love my job. I'm outside every day, working out in the wonderful weather. Like today, but there's days where I was out all winter. I was outside all winter doing the streetlights in North Attleboro, changing their streetlights to LED. And we had that 1 month or so of that really, really cold weather. Yeah, and that sucked.
Yeah, because you have to stay out there and still work.
Yeah, you're working. You can't feel your fingers. You can't feel your toes.
Dude, I've never I've never been so cold. Sitting on a beam and welding at the fan pier on the water on the 18th floor.
Yeah.
And trying not to move so you can get a nice bead.
Yeah. Get the heat off the bead. But I mean, it really. I mean, being sober in living this life afforded me this opportunity.
Right.
Because had I not been sober, I would have never met my buddy. This would have never happened. Yep. None of this would have been possible. And
you just don't know what's possible until
you do it.
When you're ripping and running, and you think you're looking at the future in your mind, and you're thinking, this is going to happen, and then I'll probably die at some point.
Yeah. And now, like I was telling Tom before we started here, next month I'm taking 2 weeks off, and I'm taking a motorcycle ride with a bunch of sober guys down in North Carolina. We're going into North Carolina. We're going to do.
We're good.
We're going to do, it's called Tail of the Dragon, which is, I think it's like 518 turns in an 11-mile road through the Smoky Mountains. We'll do some fishing and stuff too. We'll do whatever.
All with sober guys, right?
And that's the thing, you guys can do whatever you want.
We can do whatever we want, but we're just taking 2 weeks. We're riding down, we're riding back.
That's fantastic.
And it's probably gonna take. We're gonna take us 2 days, I think, to get down there. But on the way back, we're going through Pennsylvania. We're gonna take the long way. Scenic
Pennsylvania,
route.
Dude, that's a fucking long ass state.
It is.
It seems like it takes forever.
It is. And from what I've heard, it's a phenomenal ride. It's a beautiful, beautiful ride.
I bet.
And that's I wouldn't have the motorcycle I have without having the job that I have.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't have the job that I have without being sober. So it all. Everything is because all this is because I got sober and stayed sober. A day at a time. And and I tell people all the time, this is life on life's terms. Life happens.
Yep.
People die, bad shit happens, but at the end of the day, whatever it is that you're dealing with, it's better to just face it and move on from it, because if you turn to drinking and drugging, you've just now compounded whatever it is that you're dealing with, and you've made it even 10 times worse.
And you're not facing the emotions, and they're going to come.
You're going to have to deal with it. Anyway. You're going to have to deal with it eventually anyways, once you get sober. So you might as well
putting your head under the pillow.
Exactly. You might as well just deal with it, get through it, and move on, and just keep going on with your life.
I mean, all my prayers get answered. Sometimes it's fucking no. You're not having that right now. Okay.
And that's what it is, and you got to accept it. And for me, the biggest thing that helped me was acceptance. I have people ask me all the time, like, oh, do you mind if people drink around you? And I'm like, no, I don't care.
Yeah.
Like, I go to cookouts, I go to parties, I go to whatever, and people drink. That's, for me, people that don't have alcoholism or don't have the mentality that we have and can drink normally, it's socially acceptable. That's how people socialize.
Yeah, good enough.
And I've come to the point that I know that I can't drink.
You know your truth.
And I've accepted it. But other people can, and that's fine by me. It doesn't bother me in the least bit. Most times I torture them because they start to get drunk and you start fucking with them.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? I have a little fun with them.
There's some people I know that, like, they might be on the cusp.
Yeah.
I can see the personality change. Like, every drink, it changes a little more. And I think it's hilarious,
Yeah. But, I mean, you can't hide from it. It's everywhere.
Yes.
And so today that's how I live my life. I live my life. I wake up, I go to work, I try to do the next right thing. In sobriety, I've also become a Freemason, and if you don't know what a Freemason is,
I'm gonna have to talk to you about that.
Yeah. So and it's really just about being a better person and helping your fellow man, woman, whatever. Just being a better human being and trying to make the world a better place and helping wherever you can. Like a big thing with Local 103 too, which is awesome, is we now do a lot of stuff for recovery, because there's a lot of members that are alcoholics and drug addicts. So we got a new program going. We got meetings at the hall. And we try to help members wherever we can when they need a bed. And one of the things that we just did is Teen Challenge in Brockton.
Yeah.
Well, Teen Challenge has built a new 30-day facility.
Yeah.
Local 103 completely donated material and labor. $800,000 job.
Wow.
Awesome.
Nice.
Completely.
Awesome.
So
cool. One thing that I've noticed with a lot of the unions is you're not getting the chances that you used to get. There's too many people out there that aren't getting high that can do the work. You know what I mean?
Well,
like a lot of that shit used to be, all right, that's just what he does, man. Just let him be over there. You know what I mean?
You'll get opportunities. You'll give you a second chance.
Right.
But eventually you burn that bridge.
Yep.
Like there's not endless opportunities.
Like they used to be.
If you're on a job site and they do random drug tests and you pop, they're gonna send you to treatment.
Yeah. Right.
You do it again, you're probably gonna be bye-bye.
Yep.
It's just the way it is. It's not endless, but they will
help
you.
Yep.
They will try to do what they can to get you into treatment and get you better.
Because they understand it's
there's a bunch of us that are part of a Sunday morning group at the hall, and we do whatever we can to help brothers and sisters that need help. I'm there. I'll help anybody anytime if I can. And that's what it's about. It's about giving back, and to the point with the Teen Challenge. I mean, we were down there pretty much every Saturday for the past 2 months.
Nice.
Wiring that place.
So it's in Brockton?
In Brockton, right behind where Teen Challenge is. They built the building behind it.
Nice.
But we had members volunteering their time, going down there, just volunteering their Saturdays and wiring this place. And that's what it's about. And I've done a Habitat for Humanity house.
Nice.
And that's anytime there's an opportunity to volunteer my services, especially with what we do. I mean, there's not it's. We have a talent that when it comes to stuff like that, and so when I can give back and I can do something and it's all free, it helps somebody. Like Habitat for Humanity, whatever, the 30-day program, it's phenomenal. And the flip side of that Teen Challenge thing is what we get out of it is if there's a member that needs a bed, we have a bed.
Nice.
So that's what we. So it's all designed to help, and that's what it's all about. It's just about giving back and helping people and trying to give back what was given to me.
Yep.
And I fall short a lot of times.
Yeah.
I'm not perfect by any stretch, but I wake up every day and I just try to do the next right thing and try to help.
I go by the philosophy that like I'll never be able to repay that debt, so I just keep doing what I do.
You do what you can. You help where you can. And that's it. That's all you can do.
Nice.
If somebody puts their hand out and asks for help, and you're available, let's go have coffee. Let's
anytime, right?
Yeah, you call me at 3 a.m. if you feel like you're gonna drink or get high, call my phone. I'll wake up. I don't care if I gotta literally drive to your house and come pick you up, and we just gotta drive around. And if that's gonna keep you sober,
I
can deal with being tired at work. That's what's coffee for, I mean, caffeine, I'll deal. But if it's gonna keep somebody sober and potentially alive,
here you go.
I'm all about it.
All right, brother.
All right, brother. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.
That was fantastic.
Yeah, it was. Good trip down
memory lane.
A
lot of memories. Yeah. Good trip down memory lane, absolutely.
All right, so that's the Life on Life's Terms podcast. You can subscribe to us on iTunes and Google Play, and we got the Facebook group Life on Life's Terms, and
website's lolterms.com.
There you go, and
YouTube, everything.
YouTube, the Life on Life's Terms podcast.
Yep. Instagram soon.
Yeah, so big things are going to be
big things,
soon.
big things.
Yep.
All right,
we're moving up.
It. Peace.
Right. Peace. All right. Yeah, buddy.
Let's hit.